Death is never an easy topic, but there's a small piece of financial relief from Social Security that often goes unnoticed: a one-time $255 lump sum death payment. If you've lost someone close and they were covered by Social Security, you might be eligible for this benefit, but it's not automatic. You have to know about it and act fast. Why is this decades-old payment so small, and why isn't it talked about more? We'll dive into that mystery. But first, let's talk about something just as important for retirees and those on Social Security Disability Insurance (SSDI), the July 2025 payment schedule. Knowing exactly when your check arrives can make budgeting a little easier, especially in a world where every dollar counts. Stick with me, and by the end, you'll have the full July 2025 payment dates, details on the $255 death benefit, and how to claim it. If this kind of practical information helps you plan your finances, please like and subscribe to The Golden Money for more tips to secure your future. Let's start with the July 2025 Social Security payment schedule, which applies to retirees, SSDI recipients, and others receiving benefits. The Social Security Administration (SSI) sends out payments based on your birth date, ensuring a predictable flow of funds. For most recipients, payments arrive on Wednesdays throughout the month. If your birthday falls between the 1st and 10th of any month, your payment is scheduled for the second Wednesday, which is July 9th, 2025. If you were born between the 11th and 20th, expect your payment on the third Wednesday, July 16th, 2025. Those born after the 20th will receive their payment on the fourth Wednesday, July 23rd, 2025. There's a special group: those who started receiving Social Security before May 1997, or who get both Social Security and Supplemental Security income, who get paid earlier. On July 3rd, 2025, SSI recipients, including those who are 65 or older, blind, or disabled with limited income, will see their payments on July 1st, 2025. If any of these dates fall on a federal holiday or weekend, the SSI typically sends the payment on the preceding business day. For example, if July 3rd is a holiday, you'd get paid on July 2nd. This schedule helps you plan your bills, groceries, or other expenses with confidence. Now, let's tie this to the $255 lump sum death payment, because life's uncertainties can hit hard, and every bit of support matters. This one-time payment is available to certain family members of a deceased worker who paid into Social Security. It's been around since the 1930s, originally designed to return some fairness to families of workers who died before collecting benefits. Back then, it was a percentage of earnings, but in 1954, Congress fixed it at $255, roughly 3 times the maximum monthly benefit of $85 at the time. That amount made sense when funerals cost about $700, but today, with funeral expenses averaging $6,000 to $8,000, $255 feels like a drop in the bucket. Imagine trying to cover even a simple memorial with that. It's like buying a week's worth of groceries and hoping it lasts a month. Who can claim this $255? The rules are straightforward but strict. The payment goes first to a surviving spouse who was living with the deceased at the time of death. If they were living apart, the spouse might still qualify if they were already receiving Social Security benefits based on the deceased's earnings or became eligible for survivor benefits in the month of death. If there's no eligible spouse, the payment can go to dependent children, those under 18, up to 19 if still in high school, or adult children with disabilities that began before age 22. If multiple children qualify, the $255 is split evenly among them. You have to apply within 2 years of the death, and the process requires contacting the SSI by calling 1-800-772-1213 or visiting a local office. You'll need documents like a death certificate, proof of your relationship like a marriage certificate, and possibly the deceased's W-2 forms or tax returns. To make this real, let's look at John, a 68-year-old retiree from Florida. His wife, Linda, passed away in June 2025. They'd been together for 40 years, and Linda had worked as a teacher, contributing to Social Security her whole career. John was struggling with funeral costs, which totaled $7,500. A neighbor mentioned the $255 death payment, something John didn't know existed. He called the SSI, provided Linda's death certificate and their marriage certificate, and within a few weeks, he received the $255. It didn't cover the funeral, but it paid for a small memorial plaque, which brought him some comfort. John's Story shows how this benefit, though small, can offer a bit of help, but it also raises the question, why hasn't this amount changed in over 70 years? The $255 hasn't been updated since 1954 because Congress hasn't prioritized it. When survivor benefits, like monthly payments for widows or children, were expanded in 1939, the lump sum payment became less critical. It's seen as a minor benefit, costing the SA only about $226 million in 2020 compared to the $1 trillion in total benefits paid that year. But with funeral costs soaring, there's growing momentum to change it. In 2024, Senator Peter Welch proposed the Social Security Survivor Benefits Equity Act, suggesting an increase to $2,900 with inflation adjustments. Even that wouldn't cover a full funeral, but it would be a meaningful step. The bill hasn't passed yet, but it's backed by Senators Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, showing some political will to address this outdated amount. Why don't more people know about this payment? For one, the SSI doesn't advertise it widely, and funeral homes, while required to report deaths to stop benefit payments, don't always mention it. Plus, you have to apply. There's no automatic payout. If you don't know to call or visit an SSI office, you might miss out. The eligibility rules can also be confusing. For example, a spouse living apart might not realize they could qualify, or a family might not know the payment is split among children, making it even smaller per person. This lack of awareness keeps the benefit hidden, leaving many families without the small support they're entitled to. For retirees and SSDI recipients, the July 2025 payment schedule is especially important because it includes a 2.5% cost of living adjustment COLA applied to all benefits. This means the average retirement benefit is about $1,976 per month. SSDI benefits average $1,580, and C maximums are $967 for individuals. These increases help, but they're based on the Consumer Price Index, which doesn't always match real-world expenses like healthcare or rent. Knowing your exact payment date July 9, 16, or 23 for most, or July 1st for C, July 3rd for pre-1997 recipients or those with both C and Social Security lets you plan around these modest boosts. Here's a practical tip: if you're expecting a payment and it doesn't arrive, wait 3 mailing days before contacting the SSI, as 99% of payments are electronic and arrive on time. If you're applying for the $255 death benefit, call the SSI or visit an office with your documents ready to avoid delays. And if you think the $255 should be higher, consider contacting your elected officials to support bills like the Survivor Benefits Equity Act. These small actions can make a difference. In summary, the July 2025 Social Security payments follow a reliable schedule: July 1st for C, July 3rd for pre-1997 recipients or those with both C and Social Security, and July 9th, 16, or 23 based on your birth date. The $255 lump sum death payment is a small but real benefit for qualifying spouses or children, but you must apply within 2 years. It's a relic of a different era, unchanged since 1954, and while it won't cover much, it's worth claiming if you're eligible. For more financial tips and updates, like and subscribe to The Golden Money. We're here to help you navigate these benefits with ease.